The following is a presentation from PokerStars.com. Previously on the big game, Doyle was playing good and running good. And Dolly sent loose cannon Bill Given home empty-handed.
All in. Good hand. I'm drawing dead.
Daniel paid off Phil Galfond.
15,500.
What the heck is it? I've made worse calls. Okay, what the heck? Let's go.
That one was polarized.
Young pro Aaron Jones joined the game.
He's the guy from Napoleon Dynamite?
No.
People used to tell me Owen Wilson.
And got the best of Joe Hachem.
I have an ace.
I was never ever gonna win this hand.
Even if I miss, I can't miss.
While Scott Seiver caught fire at a table stacked with pros. Who has the edge? Find out tonight on the big game.
This is the PokerStars.com Big Game.
Hello and welcome to the big game from Las Vegas. Alongside Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose, and tonight there's over $1.2 million in cash on the table as some of the world's best have come to battle it out in our state-of-the-art poker room.
Young cash game extraordinaire Phil Galfond is down 40 grand, which might seem like a lot if he hadn't bought in for $500,000.
Daniel Negreanu was running good until he got a couple of times last night. He's stuck over 29 grand.
He comes from a land down under where the women glow and the men plunder. Joe Hachem is up 3,500.
Can I have a Vegemite sandwich, please? The biggest legend in the room also has turned the biggest profit so far. Hall of Famer Doyle Brunson's up over 78,000.
23-year-old pro and forearm regular Aaron Jones came in to replace the loose cannon. He's quickly up almost 12 grand.
And finally, 25-year-old pro Scott Seiver. He talks a good game and plays one as well. He's with Amanda Leatherman.
Scott, you have a reputation for playing like a complete maniac at the table. Do you like it?
I love having that reputation. I feel that people look at me differently, they play differently because of it. I get to play big pots and lots of fun hands, and that's what I like. I like being able to be in the middle of very fun action.
Look at that table. What's your plan for him tonight?
My plan is more of the same. I'm gonna, play my game, hope they stay out of my way, and to get them if they don't.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Once again, here are the rules of the big game. Each table lasts exactly 150 hands. The action pre-flop is pot limit, then no limit after the flop. Blinds are 2 and 400 with a $100 ante, all of which is paid by the player on the button. Every player begins with at least 100 grand, but can reload for up to $500,000. We get it going with hand 93.
All the hostage always wear black.
Doyle's a big fan and apparently an authority on old westerns.
They pull out their six-shooter and...
Action on Aaron Jones. Folds. Doyle's out. Seiver with tens. Raises. Hachem folds on the button. King 9 of clubs for Daniel.
Daniel and Scott have got some history on the big game. Last time he was on the show, Scott Seiver punched Daniel's ticket.
Daniel calls.
Daniel's got position this time, though, so we'll see if that changes anything.
Galfond calls with a suited one gapper. The flop. King, 8 trips for Daniel. He checks. Galfond checks his pair, and Seiver checks. 6 of spades on the turn gives Seiver a flush draw. Daniel bets 3,200.
Daniel doesn't want to give a free card to anyone who has a flush draw. For Galfond, an 8 is going to be good in this spot fairly often.
He calls.
Which means 10s are good even more often. Let's see if it's a raise or just a call.
Just a call. Queen of clubs on the river.
That's a pretty big brick for anything but pocket queen, so Daniel should be able to value bet this pretty safely. And with what his opponents are holding, if he sizes it right, he could get called in at least one spot.
Daniel bets 12,500. Galfond folds.
I need some help here. Talk to me. Help me out.
What do you want me to tell you?
Anything. Start somewhere, and then we can go from there. Does the queen matter at all?
Yes.
You're usually more open than this, willing to, give something here. I need the help. I'm asking nicely. Please, please.
Daniel's always talking, and he rarely has a hand. Let's see if this silence means anything to Seiver.
Why so serious?
Daniel was in Wolverine, not the Dark Knight. Scott Seiver makes $12,500 decisions in his sleep.
What should I do if I have aces right here?
I know not talking for Daniel's got to be really hard, so I'm going to give him the moral victory on this one anyway.
Not quite the victory Daniel wants.
You didn't have aces, right? That would have been a good fold. You had aces.
Shows the 9.
I'm saying if you had aces, that would have been a really good fold. Had at least the 9.
I show both, and you only show
You didn't
one.
show any.
I'm saying I have.
Oh, yeah.
Showed me.
I
both.
have.
He was kind enough to show me both.
Exactly.
You're a kind guy, Scott.
I appreciate that. That's all I ever wanted, to be known as being kind.
How about this? You kind of put people on tilt.
Action begins with Doyle Brunson, 10-8. Folds. Seiver trying to bounce back with another pair. Raises to 1,300. Hachem, Jack 10 of diamonds. Calls. 10-7 for Daniel.
Uh-oh, this is Daniel's favorite hand, and it's actually gotten him into trouble in the big game before.
Re-raises on the button to 5,200. Galfond folds.
You know, it's actually his favorite hand because the 10 and the 7 were his two favorite colored balls back in the pool sharking days.
Ah, very good info.
I totally made that up.
Oh, sounded good to me.
It's just been lucky for him.
Action folded back on over to Seiver, who calls.
Scott Seiver is really hoping Daniel has an overpair so that he has the right implied odds to make this call.
Hachem folded, so heads up to the flop. King, deuce, queen. Seiver checks the best hand.
That would have been a big flop for Joe. Negreanu was repping a big un pre-flop. Let's see if he keeps repping.
He reps, betting 6,200.
Looks like Scott's going to peel.
He calls.
Hachem wants his cards back.
6 of spades on the turn. Seiver checks.
Daniel still got just 10 high. This is one of the dangers of having a favorite hand. Daniel seemed a little gun-shy all week when bluffing Scott Seiver. Let's see if he can fire a third barrel.
Daniel does fire that third barrel, making it 14,200 to go.
I could justify Scott's call on the flop, thinking maybe Daniel would shut down after one bet, but Daniel certainly hasn't shut down.
Seiver keeps it going. He calls.
Seiver's totally stationing Negreanu.
You mean like a calling station?
Exactly.
4 clubs on the river. Seiver checks.
That's a tough card for Seiver to be afraid of. Daniel's loading up for a fourth barrel. Sick.
Daniel fires 36,000.
How much do you have behind? Thank you.
Despite the fact that no draws really came in, this would be a pretty sick call. Daniel bet far less than the pot, so this really does look like a value bet. Scott really doesn't look like he believes him, but in a situation like this, if you call and you're wrong, you look like a total fish.
36.
Daniel sticking to his new strategy of being quiet. Shh.
Seiver folds the winner.
Phew-wee. You had me staring. I had my favorite hand. You know what that is?
10-7?
No, the 10-7.
Oh, 10.
The exact suits.
I said 10-7.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry. 7 of diamonds and 10 of clubs specifically. Those are the ones. I can't believe I got away with a bluff. Yay!
Now, I'm going to speculate. I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
I think that was good for the game.
Yes, I'm assuming that was.
I could be wrong.
You believe that? I learned that from Phil Galfond. Just keep betting. Sometimes they fold.
Speculating here. I'm not sure. You know, like.
Yeah, Scott thinks it's great. Woohoo! The big game is just getting going. Much more from Las Vegas coming your way after this. Welcome back to the big game in Las Vegas, and do yourselves a favor, get a good look at Phil Galfond, because before you know it, he's going to return to his form as an American Idol runner-up.
I guess I'm mostly known for playing online. That's 95% of the poker I play or more is online. I guess most people know me by the screen name OMG Clay Aiken. There's not a whole lot of thinking that went into it. The main reason I chose is that a lot of people online will choose like kind of tough guy screen names. I kind of want to do the opposite, and it actually has worked out fairly well. A lot of people have told me that when they first started playing me and nobody knew who I was, they just assumed I couldn't be good and tilted them so much. Losing to me probably made them play a lot worse. I would call myself selectively aggressive, and I think there are game formats in which I will be on the tighter side and more cautious. I think in this particular format, I'm going to be very aggressive. I could very well win or lose a lot of money today, but you know, whatever happens, happens.
So he's saying Clay Aiken isn't a tough guy name?
Meanwhile, back at the table, players are speculating whether a tilting Seiver laid down an ace last hand.
I lost to some bluffs was my problem. Not that one,
really?
obviously, but I lost
You had like
to,
ace 10 or something?
I lost to a lot of bluffs. That's my problem.
He took 6 years with ace high. He's tough, man.
I thought that was an obvious call with ace high there.
Scott actually folded pocket fives.
He had ace 10 and is like,
King, queen for Seiver.
So
It's pretty polarized, right? And that's fine.
I was polarized? No, I don't think I was that. Well, I mean, you could have like...
Seiver raises. Hachem folds.
No, you could be evaluating ace queen.
Yeah, ace queen I could have had. I don't know. Right, Phil?
But that doesn't mean he's not polarized. That just means that's part of his value.
Polarized. You all learned a new word this week, didn't you, Doyle?
I think I had instrumental upbringing of the development of polarized back when it first started.
Phil calls.
Mostly because I made up its antithesis, didn't make up, but I wrote about its antithesis, which is merged. So I started it all.
I'm so happy.
You can't
I can't explain
celebrate.
it. It's just Scott. He has plenty of money. I would do that to somebody who did money. It's so fun. Remember I told you I was going to bluff him?
Yeah.
I swear, and I did.
Oh,
it's the first
God.
bluff that's worked where I bet,
Why
bet,
are you
bet,
still
and they finally
trying?
folded. I don't know.
You're so ridiculous.
I
I
promised
thought you
myself.
had ace king.
Remember I said I wasn't going to bluff Scott? No way.
Yeah.
Then I just couldn't help myself. This trigger hand. But this time it worked. Phew! I can breathe. Let's hope he's steamed up now and the game
Excessive
gets
celebration.
good. Yeah, I'm going to get a penalty.
That's
Flag.
15 yards for roughing the Seiver.
Daniel's happy.
4-4-7 on the flop. Seiver checks.
Galfond's got the best hand.
That's 1,000. Seiver quickly calls. The turn. 5 of hearts gives Galfond a pair. Seiver checks.
Seiver's checked twice, and now Phil's got an actual hand.
Galfond bets 4,500 and Seiver folds.
I had to do it. My
That's
favorite hand.
gloating, Daniel. That's gloating, I think.
You were so close to making the hero ace-10 call and just gutting me.
I can't believe I folded it. I
Huh?
can't
We'd have to
believe I
pick you up
folded
off the floor.
If what?
if he had a call with the ace-10.
I just would have like said, wow, I can never play again.
I didn't think you were bluffing. I know you're capable, but I really felt like you weren't.
I believe we have some stats on the table, Captain Joe.
Aye, Chris. Captain Aiken is leading the USS VPIP, flop scene, and pots won, but when it comes to turning a profit, he's at the back of the line, and right now he's the only player that's losing at the table. But if anyone has the skills in the stack to get it back, it's this guy.
And he has 55 hands left to get it back.
I didn't think I was. Like, if I looked at the hand, if I watched the hand on TV, I would look at myself and go, you know what? Daniel has it this time. He can't always be bluffing. This time he has 3 queens. It's okay.
I thought you hit like a 4 or a 6 and we're going to keep bluffing or something.
That's the thing.
I thought you were like 7-4 or something
So if I had
like
that, then you can't beat it.
You guys don't hear that? I thought you were like 7-4.
Hachem folds UTG. Negreanu folds. Ace-10 for Galfond.
Well, here's someone who definitely has ace-10. The cameras don't lie.
Galfond raises. Jones, Jack-7.
Well, this would be a pretty weird and loose call.
He's on the button. Forget about a call. How about a re-raise?
That's actually less weird. If you're going to play this hand, you want to do it with the lead.
Except for the huge pot you just fluffed me off of. Other than that, though,
It's tough when you never make the hand.
Queen-8 for Seiver.
I agree with that.
Folds.
No.
How much approximately do you have?
Just a little over 100.
Ace-10 is kind of a trap hand. You have to be very careful if you hit top pair.
It's 4,200.
I don't even know what I'm doing in this game between you two.
Did you have a diamond draw, or just calling with ace high?
No draw.
He had no draw.
No draw.
I was proud of you anyway, Daniel. You didn't count your chips down for him. I was proud of you.
No, I just push him forward. You can count. I'm never going to count him down ever. No way.
I mean, I knew you would.
hate that.
I mean, I knew you would.
I never do it.
But I couldn't see how many oranges, so I think
Right,
it's
I
fair
just
for me
push
to
him so you can see him,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to count him.
Galfond calls.
Asking a player to count chips can sometimes be a way to make a read.
Heads up to the flop. Ace-7 queen. Top pair for Galfond. He checks.
Jones is likely to continue. He's also made bottom pair.
Jones bets 6,600. Galfond calls. Deuce of clubs on the turn. Galfond checks.
Galfond's flop call may have halted Jones here.
Good.
Jones does slow down. Deuce of spades on the river.
That's a pretty good card for Galfond since his kicker just improved.
Galfond bets 9,300.
This would be a pretty loose call.
Jones makes it. Phil shows.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
That's what I usually have, but you got pot odds.
Yeah. That's what I figured.
He figured, but he had to pay to see it.
So Phil Galfond puts a dent into his losses by winning a pot of more than $41,000. Can he climb his way back? Find out when we come back. If you want to get more in depth with the big game, you can see bonus hands, extra stats on this table, as well as footage deemed too hot for TV on the website. We continue with hand 102. Joe Hachem taking a break over at the buffet, apparently.
Can you blame him? The roast beef carving station is open.
When do we get a breather?
Starving.
Daniel folds. Galfond. Oot.
That was a good show.
What?
Showing was a good idea.
Oh, I had to show you. Are you kidding me?
Showing was a good idea.
How could I not show you that?
Scott's still talking about that bluff Daniel showed him earlier.
I should have made you pay like $100 for each card.
I wouldn't have done that.
Jones raised. Brunson folded. Ace-9 for Seiver.
I bet I'll pay more than $100 per card to defend his big blind.
Yeah, he pays $400 per card. Heads up to the flop, which is tray 4-7. Seiver checks.
Jones has flopped a pair and a gut shot.
And checks. Tray of clubs on the turn. Trip threes for Jones.
Jones did not continuation bet for some reason. Maybe some pot control with bottom pair.
Seiver checks.
At this point, I'm sure he's thinking pot control, schmott control.
Well said. Very eloquent. Jones bet 1,600.
Now that it's been checked to Jones twice, Scott might think he could be betting with anything.
Seiver calls. Off to the river. King of hearts. Seiver checks again.
Right now, Indiana Jones is searching for the entrance to the Temple of Value.
Jones bets 4,500.
Scott Seiver's got nothing but ace high.
Reaching for chips. Ooh, the pump fake. He shoots and calls. And doesn't score.
Can't believe it.
Got the 7-4.
He wishes it was that good.
You look a little tilted.
Even when Scott Seiver loses, people give him a ton of credit.
You got the 3-5. Something was funny about that hand. Or you got the Jack-10 or something.
Care to try again?
Something is particularly funny.
You got
about
a lot
that
of
hand.
guesses.
I'm just saying, something is particularly funny about that hand.
Nothing is particularly funny to Scott right now. He started the night up 75-5, and over the course of 10 hands, he's dropped $38,500 in profit.
Ouch. Phil Galfond, UTG, and folds. Jones, King 4 suited.
Someone's back to raising light in position.
Yep. Doyle folds. Seiver's out. Daniel, sevens.
Okay.
Calls.
I'm probably not going to bet the flop, so what the heck? I'll just check.
Yep.
Deuce 6-8.
Not a bad flop for sevens.
Daniel still best. Checked in the dark over to Jones. Bets 2,100.
Okay, I'm going to give you a little free information, just for fun. I have at least one pair right now. At least. I could have better.
Okay.
I'm telling you the truth. I could. I mean, well, that's not the truth, but you know what I'm saying.
Believe.
Truthish.
It's a poker table, so I'm going to believe about half of what I see and definitely
Well,
none
believe
of what
this.
I hear.
I check.
All right.
Daniel checks the best hand.
Daniel didn't even let him finish his speech.
I guess I'll try again.
I've heard of a crying call, but this is a crying bet.
Of 6,600.
I'm going to make the sickest laydown ever. Scott is going to punch me in the face for laying this down. You'd go crazy if you had that.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm folding that.
Oh my God, don't
How can
show
that
him,
not be good?
Don't show me, don't show me.
No, I'm not going to
Just
show
don't
him,
show
but
Just don't show
geez,
him.
I'm folding it. You won't believe what I just folded. 2 10s.
Make sure the camera gets that one.
2 10s. Because the jack came and you just, ooh, perked up, so in the muck.
Well, I don't know if it was the jack or just the opportunity to continuation bet at Daniel. As we can see, Daniel has been folding to a C-bet half of the time. So for Aaron or anyone at the table, seems like a good game plan against kid poker.
So the young poker teacher giving a little lesson on c-betting, perhaps.
Watch and learn, Greenstein. Watch and learn.
Action begins on Joe Hachem, who has returned to the table and folds. Daniel raises. Action folds over to Jones on the button. Re-raises to 3,500. Doyle folds. Seiver. Out.
We call those le nuisance raises.
Daniel is not French-Canadian.
Daniel calls.
So what?
Nuisance raises?
Oh.
They're, so tiny I gotta, give you more money.
4 deuce deuce.
Check.
Nut flush draw for Daniel.
Notice I didn't check in the dark that time? There were some flops I was planning on betting.
Yeah.
This wouldn't have been one of them.
All right.
Jones checks. 10 of hearts on the turn.
Check's good.
Jones is caught up in a big way.
Jones bets top pair, 6,600.
This is a spot where Daniel's hand will sometimes be good already, and even if it's not, he's got too many outs to fold. He's got 1 overcard and the nut flush draw. Daniel's getting 2.5 to 1, which is a pretty good price to draw. Usually this is a pretty trivial call, especially for Daniel.
And he makes it.
So obviously I don't have 2 7s because I would have folded.
5 of clubs on the river. Daniel checks.
Kid Poker's been bricking out like the Great Wall of China this week. Daniel's taken an extremely passive line on this hand, so Jones should be able to bet top pair confidently.
Jones does bet.
I'm missing so many hands. So many hands. It's feeling like Tony G when he ran bad. Oh, boy. Can I make this sick call? Can't just put a diamond out there one time.
Try asking one more time.
One time. How much did he bet?
15,500.
No, there's no more diamonds in there?
For me or you?
I needed the diamond. I had the nut diamonds.
Daniel seems genuinely frustrated here. He folds.
You know anyone that ever gives a speech like that and then raises?
Oh, give a speech and then raise?
No, the old, I never get there, this is ridiculous.
Raise.
One time, all
I mean, if they do, it's usually an amateur and he has quads.
Ha! Amateurs.
Aaron Jones is on a heater. Will it continue? Find out after this. Welcome back to the big game alongside Joe Stapleton. I am Chris Rose. It is hand 112 of the 150 we'll play this week. Action begins on Doyle Brunson. Ace 8.
Yeah, that's a real weird spot on the river, like a real awkward spot. Yeah.
One more time.
Fires it away. Seiver 10-6 suited.
Why wouldn't he raise this?
He will. Hachem folds.
Can't believe you guys got me to fold.
Team Pro, brother.
It was Team Pro, exactly.
Team Pro.
Team Pro moment.
Galfond folds.
Very accurate.
So does Jones.
You're gonna get a reputation, Scott. You better watch it.
Yeah.
7-9 queen. Daniel flops an open ender.
Daniel's bound and determined to show Seiver a big hand, and he's got a shot here.
Seiver with a gut shot. Bets 3,200.
Seems excessive in terms of how much. It's a lot. It's a big bet he bet. He bet almost the whole pot, right? I think.
Well, I'm gonna call you. No big deal. Probably have the best hand.
Daniel calls.
Because I'm stretching.
Deuce of spades on the turn. Daniel with a flush draw as well. Seiver checks.
Daniel just picked up a bunch more bricks he can hit on the river.
Yeah.
Daniel checks. Ace of diamonds on the river.
And that card hit the table with a thud. And oddly, it's going to leave a brick-sized imprint. Both players have 10 high. The first aggression may take it down.
Seiver fires.
That's like the 700th straight draw, and now straight draw and a flush draw this time on the turn.
Daniel folds.
What do you have?
10 high, 10-8. What'd you have, 10-6? Oh, sick. I had you so destroyed.
Such a small bet.
Come on, you guys. Can you stop playing silly and let's, play real poker? Not this bluffing every hand.
I want to hit it. I'm sick of bluffing every time. I want to actually just freaking have.
How do you think I feel?
You want to actually value bet, not value bluff.
But if you never make a damn hand.
Well, everyone thinks they run bad, but maybe these two actually are. Both Daniel and Scott trail the rest of the table when it comes to turning their hands over. Everyone else is winning between 60 and 67% of the time.
But you know, Joe, Daniel may also be belly aching a bit because he stuck nearly $12,000 this week and about 180 grand on 7 big game appearances overall.
Well, I guess in perspective, 12 grand isn't so bad.
Yeah, I'm down. Round of straddles, gentlemen? Let's do it. Yeehaw.
Hachem will be the first to do it.
Last time it only cost me 20,000.
I was gonna say it made me go off last time. I'm sure it'll make me go off again. I'm primed and ready for it.
It cost me like 20 or 25,000
I am
last time.
primed and ready.
I thought you said you were gonna have it next time.
That was before I knew there'd be a round of straddles.
It's no joke. The straddle is the poker equivalent to the full moon. People get a little nuts.
Galfond raises. Jones on the button, suited.
Queen 9 is not a hand you want to play out of position, but in position and suited, it's a fairly strong hand.
Jones calls. Brunson, pocket eights. Calls. Seiver. Folds. And the straddler?
It's only one obvious play here, Daniel, right?
Last time he said that he raised.
Never mind.
Not here.
Not this time.
So 3 to the flop, which is 5-5 queen, top pair for Jones. Brunson checks. Galfond checks.
Top pair for the poker teacher. We could see a bet here.
Nope, just checks.
Jones checking for deception, maybe some pot control.
6 of hearts on the turn.
Doyle may feel like his 8s are good now.
And the legend bets 8,000.
Doyle coming out betting usually gets a lot of respect, and Phil's got a weak ace high.
Galfond folds.
All right, well, we know Jones isn't folding. This is a situation where a raise isn't necessary because if Doyle doesn't have a 5 or a queen, he's folding, and if he does, Jones is likely to be beat. I think Jones might just be Hollywooding a bit to see if he can make Doyle think he's got a 6.
Jones calls. The river. Tray of diamonds.
Doyle should be unaffected by that 3, but he's probably wondering what Jones called with on the turn. We'll see how good of a job Jones did selling that 6. Looks like he sold it.
Now Doyle checks.
Something made Doyle back off there.
Jones fires again, 4,500.
That's actually smaller than Doyle's bet on the turn.
It's the milking machine.
He's got it. Looks like he's going to pay anyway.
Doyle calls and sees the lady on Jones's side. 23-year-old Aaron Jones turned into a milking machine this hand. And in this case, milk does do a body good. And it helps out your stack as well. He's now up nearly 27 grand. More action after this.
I feel that I'm playing a very aggressive style. I'm playing a lot of hands. I'm putting people to tough decisions. I'm playing, I guess the word would be unorthodox. I like to do things that other people, A, wouldn't expect me to do, and B, wouldn't expect anyone to do. So they see a play that I make and they have no idea how to even start analyzing it because they've never seen anyone do anything like that before. So I feel that's always a good step 1 in a hand for me.
That's step 1. Step 2 for Scott Seiver is injuring himself on our $40,000 poker table.
Watch out for the insurance claims. Alongside Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose, coming to you from Las Vegas, home of the big game. Straddle on by Phil Galfond. So action on 23-year-old Aaron Jones from Indiana.
Indiana Jones, as I like to call him.
Of course. He folds, as does Brunson. Seiver on the button.
Gather round, kids. Scott Seiver is about to do something unorthodox.
Raises to 3,100 with 8 high. Hachem folds, so does Daniel. King 5 suited for Galfond.
Why do you have to make it so big?
Calls.
Because you told me you're only folding 7 deuce, so might as well milk you for a bit.
7 deuce. Why does he say it like that? What's with this kid?
5, 6, 4. Galfond checks second pair. Seiver checks bottom pair and a gut shot. Ace of clubs on the turn. Galfond checks, still with the best hand.
Scott might think his pair is good now, and the ace is a good card to bluff at.
Seiver bets 5,100.
Galfond's trying to get a read. He also knows that the ace is a good card to bluff at, and he knows that Scott is capable of the unorthodox.
Phil calls.
Not a believer.
The river. Ace of spades. Galfond checks.
If Scott thinks his 4 may be good, he'll probably check behind. If not, we're looking at a bluff.
Seiver. Bets 11-8.
Good card for you to bet. Nice small bet.
That bet is very value-y looking, but Galfond's getting almost 3-1, which means he's only got to be right about 25% of the time to be able to make this call. Chris, do you think Scott Seiver has worse than a pair of 5s in this spot 1 out of every 4 times?
Yes.
Correct. I agree.
11-8.
He's assumed the position.
Phil calls.
4, 5.
That's some pretty sick poker. 40K up for grabs between a 4 and a 5.
And for the first time since Monday, Galfond has a profit.
Wow. 'Cause I don't know if that was value slash
They call
bluff.
that a merge. That's
That's
not,
a merge?
He's unpolarized there.
What does that mean?
It means sometimes Phil folds the best hand, and sometimes Phil
Sometimes
calls
I fold the 5, sometimes I call the king.
Yeah.
Wow. That's what that was? You were merging?
I mean, just a bet. There's no need to define it. It's just, since we're talking about polarizing, I just threw it in there.
Merge.
Yeah.
Merge, polarized, poker vocabulary class continues after this. Welcome back to Las Vegas and the big game. We've got 6 pros, over $1.2 million in cash on the table. There's a round of straddles going on, so the action will start on 25-year-old Scott Seiver.
Seiver crushed his last appearance on the big game, walking with over 250,000.
He folds.
Gee, none of us have been all in.
Nope.
Is that right?
Just the cannon.
10s for Hachem.
I just only made it 1,200. Wow.
Not possible with the straddle on.
Joe raises. Aces for Daniel.
A re-raise on the button probably wouldn't get a ton of credit, which is exactly why he should do it.
There it is to 10,000. Galfond, Jack 5, folds. Jones is out, so is Brunson.
Hashem's been playing pretty tight, so he may feel pressure to continue this hand. He's certainly deep enough to flat call. But if he thinks Daniel might be getting out of line, we could see anything here.
Raise.
Joe announces a 4-bet.
Daniel's doing a good job of looking concerned.
Hachem makes it 31,000.
Daniel does have to decide between a call or a raise, but if he's going to raise and he does it too quickly, it'd be a dead giveaway. This might be a good spot to just call. Hachem could have the sense to fold to a 5-bet, so if Daniel just flats, it's not that likely that Hachem could fold outright on the flop. It really depends on stack sizes here. Hachem has only about another 60K behind, so that's close to a size you'd want to try to get it all in with.
Daniel giving off the sense he's really struggling with this decision.
I don't know if he's Hollywooding or just trying to figure out how to get the rest of Joe's money.
Maybe those two are the same thing. There's a 5-bet to 91 grand.
Daniel's just basically put Joe to the decision of all in or fold. Not sure if he's willing to invest another 60K with 2 10s. He may feel pot committed, but I don't think Daniel's ever going to do this with a hand that 2 10s are ahead of. One other thing I've noticed is that Hachem has released a number of hands this week when he's been put to the test for big chips. He might be getting frustrated. Hashem's getting 2-1, but unfortunately for him, he is a 4-1 dog.
Kind of glad it's not a quick all-in. Right?
Yeah, that's good news.
Daniel can't wait to show you the bad news.
I'm all in.
Joe shoves. Daniel calls.
You got aces? Yeah, I got 10s. Twice is good?
Yeah, twice is good.
I couldn't fold it.
No, I don't think so.
I couldn't fold it.
Not once you put 20 in. I could easily have ace-king. If I had ace-king, I would have done exactly the same thing.
Y'all feel free to take your time. It's only my anniversary.
I'm sure Doyle's never played cards on his anniversary before.
My flush draws a lot at least.
Yeah, you got those going for you.
I think my 10 is live.
The first flop,
Boom.
a 10.
Like that one.
Good thing I ran it twice.
A set for Joe.
Daniel can catch up with an ace or running hearts.
Save the fourth 10 for the second board, please.
Looking pretty good.
The turn, 6 of diamonds.
Give him another 10 if you're going to do anything. Okay? Seriously.
She's gonna do something.
If you don't give me an ace, just give him a 10. I can't handle losing these twice. It'll hurt really bad. That'll bother me.
The river, 6 of hearts.
All right, thank you. That's
wait, there's one
oh,
more.
we're running it twice?
Yes.
I play so bad.
You made a huge mistake, Joe.
I play so
Joe,
bad.
you made a huge mistake.
Joe will at least get his money back.
So there's one more 10 left in the deck as far as I'm concerned, right?
As far as you're concerned.
Now, how greedy is that? Now, you know what? You know what? I don't want to win the second pot.
If you have a 10,
I
just
do,
put an ace
but
with
I
it.
don't want to.
St. Joe.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I was about to say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
The second flop,
Ooh,
I thought that was a 10. I don't know why.
Clubs and there's backdoor everything
It's
here.
not fair if I beat you this hand, seriously.
Is the 9 of clubs too big? I think it's 7 of clubs is better. 7 of clubs.
7
for a
clubs
sweat.
for a sweat?
I'd rather
No,
not.
the turn,
Ooh!
Big time sweat.
I mean, that's
Oh, God.
a decent sized sweat as well.
That's a pretty good sweat.
I don't know if anyone else goes through this. Really not convinced.
No 7.
No 7, no queen.
This is intense.
Joe is open-ended.
the river, Daniel holds.
Oh. I'm so I got aces. I'm so happy to not go broke.
There's the 9 of clubs. There's the 9 of clubs.
Come on. Daniel losing both of those is good for the game.
Yeah, great for the game.
One more card. Come on. Look at one more card.
Thank you.
Never been so excited about getting half my money with aces against 10s.
Or half the pot anyway.
Yeah.
Cash count, Joe Hachem's the only player showing a loss.
Galfond and Negreanu both started the night down and are both now showing some profit.
Seiver and Jones are both up about 25K, while Doyle's up over 45,000. Basically, all the pros are playing with the 100 grand left on the table when the cannon busted out.
All right, guys, it's that time again. Daniel,
Yeah.
have you ever been so happy to get half your money with aces?
It's ridiculous. I'm getting so annoyed. It's unbelievable. I want to strangle him, and he did nothing wrong. Really?
Yeah. Are you gonna do something tomorrow night?
I'm gonna try and make back what I lost tonight, I tell you that.
We need the clever Scott back. Come on.
We do need the clever Scott.
All right, that's it, guys. I'm Amanda Leatherman saying goodbye for now. And remember, if you've got the cash and the guts, there's always a seat open at the big game. Good night, everybody.
For Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose. We'll see you tomorrow night.
That was a long night.
Yeah.
That was a long night, wasn't it?
I don't even know if I should be on tilt after that or being happy. You know, I'm so emotionally confused.
Yeah, I think you gotta be happy.
But I didn't even like the fact that it was a sweat on the next one. The fact that he'd even put a sweat out there, I'm more upset. Why do that to me?
It tilts him more.
Why not just put an ace out there?
The preceding was a presentation from PokerStars.com.